session. We are really excited today to have a prep cluster on how to make RSPO the norm. We have a few people in the room that I want to introduce. Javin is our strategic project director. She knows everything about Japan, jurisdictional approach. What else is on your, you have a mic, right? What else is on your, oh, you don't.
Including collaborations with the national scheme like MSPO, RSPOs, and all the innovations around technology advancements for the improvements of RSPO credibility.
Wonderful, thank you. And next to Javin is Lilian Garcia Luedo. Lilian is assurance manager in Europe, based in the same office as I am, but I will do my introduction in a minute. Cameron is in the back. Cameron is Outreach and Engagement Manager for the US, together with Dan, who you might know. Amir, where are you? There. Amir is our Greenhouse Gas Manager. He knows everything about impact in terms of emission reductions, which I find extremely interesting, and I think it's something that you can positively communicate to your clients, for example. And then on stage we have Christian Jespersen. Do I say that? No. Oh, okay, good. He's from the Copenhagen Business School, and he's been working with RSPO on the Nudge project. I'm Inke van der Sluis. I work as Head of European Operations for the RSPO, and I would like to invite Christian to explain the first slide.
Thank you very much, Inke. It's a pleasure to stand here in front of you. I know it's late or growing late for some of you as jet lag may be setting in, but ultimately that's why we set up this little experiment to get you moving and being a little more interactive. So, you are all now part of an experiment, and this is going to be our little sort of sandbox from which we're going to engage in this space. You will be requested to do a couple activities and to fill in a survey. This is, of course, voluntary, but this is also matched with a a very dynamic survey that we ran over the course of September, October, in which we focused very strongly on dynamics within the RSPO credit system. And so, however, before we anticipated that there would be a couple more people in the room. We have to do a little bit of moving around. Right? So outside of the people in the back, what I would love to see happen is if people can come and sit in the rows where there are numbers, if that is in fact possible. So the back. Now the people who are sitting in the front, up until level 6 or 8, let's say, don't have to move, right? But for others in the back, can you come forward and let's make a friend, ultimately. So the people up to there, come on down. I would love to see some people group 2. You can even set up your own group if you want to be independent, a self-starter. You can form your own little club if you want, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there we go. You can come even a little closer. I'm giving you to the people in the back. If we can come a little bit, please, if possible. At least participate. You don't have to include, but just come close, please. Cameron, if you can mobilize, I know it's tough. Blood sugars are dropping. The mandarin orange you ate did not really hit the spot critically, I think. But let's see what we can do. Come. Because ultimately, it's through your collective work that we'll be able to explore discussions about surveys. Now, if you're moving to an area where there are no numbers, then that's sort of somewhat cheating. But outside of that, it's okay, because I leveled every second row, so I can sort of anticipate where you're not really supposed to be sitting. Also, if you please look on the form that says activity list, right, activity, it'll say your group number, so that should be relatively clear. If you move forward, you will adopt a new one. Very good. Well, I think that's what we can expect at this present moment. So, by engaging in this process, fundamentally, you accept that this is going to be anonymized, that none of the data that you will be proposing will go further than outside of the scribblings on the paper. Originally, we thought of using technology, but because of intermittent Wi-Fi, You will have probably noticed that in your hotel rooms where it sort of times out, we decided not to use the technology and go paper form. So on that note, without much ado, I want to break down the activities for today. We're going to go through again what are RSPO credits and how does it work fundamentally. Understanding the supply and the sales mechanisms that do take place, and to ultimately also follow that up with new paths for credits. Credits, by their very nature, can in fact be a specific and tangible tool that can be focused, and I will go through that after Activity 1 and Survey 2. We have found some very interesting results, specifically results that are not echoing only the European position. It was taken across the membership, critically. This is a vote, well, participation ultimately that illustrated multiple different positions outside of what is normally spoken here. Right? So this becomes also very critical when we think of changing volumes that we anticipate to happen by 2030 globally. At which point also, we're going to follow up with a couple different activities and a final survey, which will then lead to our discussion. This is ultimately also an opportunity for people from around the world who have traveled here and who are in this room to also voice their position. Right? This is sometimes a rare occurrence. We saw great positions of confidence in terms of commitment or in terms of responding to the survey from Latin America, from India, from China, and from Japan. Much more than one would have ever seen. And this was ultimately the most successful RSPO survey to date. So obviously there's a message here that people are excited to transmit. So it also behoves us to also think about what they're saying and then ultimately anticipate and maybe also illustrate our response or our commitment to also recognizing that position. So before we go into what are the credits, I will now ask you critically to look on the sheet. You will be tasked to fill in survey section number 1. Amir, who amongst you has not received a survey from Monsieur Amir? On the left-hand side, Amir? Right? If you have not received, there's activity sheet and a survey sheet. Who has not received a survey sheet? Please show your hands, a show of hands. And Amir will very quickly come to you. This survey will be collected at the end of the session. Thank you very much. Javin as well. For those at the front row, understand that I never ask a question of the front row. You're always there to trip me up. I only ask questions in the back row. As a professor, that's always where I ask questions. So you made the wrong choice, people, fundamentally. There's whole new sections right up front where you won't have to receive my focused attention. So if you take a couple of minutes, it should not take you very long. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you could also, on the top of that survey sheet, note the same group number and letter that is located on your activity sheet, that would be great.
Can I get to use this mic instead?
Oh, great, absolutely.
You're way too tall. You're too far.
I'm way too tall. It only happened yesterday. I sound even deeper.
No, it's better.
It's better? Oh, good.
And then stand there, so we are just as tall.
I will stand down. That's right. You know how hard it is to find clothes and with a day's notice? These shoes are killing me. So I'm assuming by the whites of your eyes that the vast majority of you have finished that survey. Do a couple other people need more time? No, don't all speak at once. Anyone need a pen? A pen or a survey, sir? So you only have to fill out section 1. If you're sight impaired like I am, you can always make a friend to your neighbors.
So they're still working.
So as you wrap up the survey, Inka will then take the next section, please.
I saw one more RSPO. Sorry. Is this on or off? On. I saw one more RSPO Secretariat staff, Ravi. Hi, welcome. So Ravi is our new Outreach and Engagement Director. So if you have questions, please go and see him. Other RSPO staff that I missed introducing? No, okay. He was hidden in the back, so didn't see him. I think it's important to briefly go over what RSPO credits are, and I see that we have some experts in the room. You can do your email or Twitter or LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. I know that you know what credits are, but there's always new people in the room. There's also people that have perceptions about what credits are, and they may be not slightly right. So let's go over what credits are. So a credit represents 1 ton of certified sustainable palm oil, or certified sustainable palm kernel oil, or certified sustainable palm kernel expeller, which is typically used in animal feed, for example. When you purchase a credit as a retailer or a manufacturer, you give that premium directly to the producer, which is a mill or an independent smallholder or an outgrower or a palm oil crush facility. And that is to reward the company that had made an effort to start producing sustainable material. So it's a very direct way to support. But then your sourcing, of course, is conventional. So this is why we see a progressive move for companies to go from credits to mass balance to segregated. There will be changes in the independent smallholder standard that goes to GA this Wednesday. We talk about that in a bit. And we have RSPO Next credits. So when the previous version of the PNC in 2013 was launched, some of the market players didn't think that the standard was solid enough on deforestation, planting on peat, greenhouse gas emissions, these kind of things. So there was an additional module developed, which is called RSPO Next. And we had a credit model to support the growers that went beyond the then active PNC. But of course now we have a new PNC and all these requirements are incorporated. So my expectation is that the RSPO Next credits will disappear once all the producers are RSPO PNC 2018 certified. And then we'll quickly touch on jurisdictional credits. So how does it work? So on the left side of the screen, you see the sellers of credits. So it's independent smallholders, outgrowers, mills, and crushers. They can sell their credits through the online trading platform by offering them, and when the buyer meets the same price level, there's a match and there's a sale. You can also find buyers actively and make an off-market deal. Also recorded in the RSPO IT platform, which is called Palm Trace. So there's a difference between the credits. So what you see is that outgrowers and mills sell certified sustainable palm oil credits because that's what they produce. Independent smallholders are a special group of farmers that receive more and more attention for the right reasons. And we should not forget that 40% of the global production is produced. 40% of the land under production is owned by smallholders. So for smallholders, we have developed different type of credits, and typically they are more valuable. They have a better story to tell. So smallholders can sell independent smallholder credits for palm oil, palm kernel oil, and palm kernel expeller. And then for the crushers, it's a slightly different situation. Crushers buy certified palm kernels from the mill, and then they can sell either credits for palm kernel oil or physical palm kernel oil. So as I said, it's all happening on the trading platform, Palm Trace, and then buyers can make a decision on what to buy. If you want to know the price of credits, I know that we can never talk about price, but this is public information. You can go to our website and you see the marketplace and you can see the offers and the bids of the buyers and the sellers. So just to put things in perspective, we've always seen more supply than demand. And in the beginning of the RSPO, it was a struggle to sell into the market, right? We started in 2004 and only in 2008, I'm looking at you, Judith, 8, huh? Yeah. There was the first shipment of certified oil coming to Europe. So in dark orange, it's the sales of credits. And then in the lighter bars, you see the physical sales, so mass balance and segregated, right? So credits play a very important role in starting the flows and starting to get the critical mass for eventually mass balance or segregated flows. This information is available on our website as well. So, of course, we have been looking at credits as a supply chain option, but we need to think about how credits can be valuable to new initiatives. So we see more increase in interest for smallholder credits. And I'm looking around, our expert on this is not in the room, so I'm going to grab the mic. Is that on already? Yeah. I need to look at my notes because I'm not the smallholder expert. Is any one of you expert on the new independent smallholder standard? Wanting to share something about it? No. Okay. It's okay. I've been briefed. So, the way that the current system works, when smallholders are certified, they can sell credits, right? But the idea is that that is a difficult process, so they need more support in their way to full compliance. And that is why the independent smallholder system will work differently. And as I said, it needs to still be approved by the GA on Wednesday, and I'm hopeful it will pass. But the idea is that there will be an eligibility check on the independent smallholders by a certification body. And when they're eligible, they will receive a certified volume that they can already sell as credits. And that's 40% for the first 2 years. And after the first 2 years, they have to meet new compliance criteria, which is called Milestone A. Once they are fully compliant with Milestone A, they can sell 70% of their volume. And then in the next year, they reach Milestone B, and they are fully certified, fully compliant. They can sell 100% of their volume as credits or physical. Yes? Then the second part, I would like to ask you, Christian, to explain a bit what this corporate social responsibility would mean.
The vast majority of firms hold dear CSR, a legacy of the late 1990s and the Millennium Development Goals. These credits, in principle and in practice, can be used as a third-party verified CSR mechanism, whereby firms choosing specific priorities can illustrate their commitment by the acquisition or purchase of credits to support the development of, for example, smallholders, jurisdictions, or even by their very nature support producers who are doing good work in guaranteeing sustainability along the supply chain.
Can I have a mic here with Maria? So for jurisdictional credits, I would like to invite Maria to explain first your full name, because I forgot, sorry, and and the organization, and what the state of thinking is around the jurisdictional approach and how markets can support the jurisdictional entities.
Yes, hi, Maria Alban from Ecuador. I am participating in the jurisdictional approach working group, and we have been discussing the extent of the reward that the credit is or should be for smallholders as well as for the jurisdictional entities that are the entities that take upon all the work to organize the landscaping, the auditing system, and all the capacity building that should take place within the territory. So this is an opportunity we see. We haven't yet decided how it will be addressed in that regard, but there is a big opportunity to make this system, to make credits available to finance, to fund the jurisdictional entities and promote the jurisdictional approach certification system.
Thank you so much. And I don't know whether people are aware, but Ecuador is really a very exciting jurisdiction because it's a country where you see more and more oil palm plantations, and the country has committed to approach it as a region, or actually a country that needs to move into 100% certified. So I think that's a fantastic initiative and very large scale, and it will have huge impact. Javin, do you want to add anything? No? So jurisdictional approaches are things that are a buzzword, right? So when we started the work many years ago, it was sort of a pilot, and we all understood it was a very challenging process. But I think RSPO is in a few pilot projects that are quite successful and getting a lot of attention. And also markets, I mean, based in the European market, we see that there's a lot of interest in these approaches because we won't have like patches of certified plantations, but we will have regions that are fully compliant. The thinking is, however, how will the market support these projects? Because they will need support to achieve it. And credits may be a model that will eventually work for these regions. Okay, Christian, over to you.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's your first activity. If you look at the activity sheet, you'll be asked to come together in your group. And on the group numbered sheet at the end of your row, you will see a paper. Javin, if you can hold up that paper you're walking right beside, right there. That's the right, you just walk right beside it, Javin. Actually, I'll come down. There, this one here. On the back of it, you can write 3 tweets, right? For our Indonesian colleagues, this will be heaven, right? This is the land of Twitter, right? And there's a huge dynamic. So I'm expecting remarkable tweets from our Indonesian colleagues. So for this activity, we would like you to work with your group, and we want to figure out a way of your framing based on the activity description of how you would sort of interpret or analyze credits as a tool. You will be asked to write no more than 150 characters for each tweet, and we will then come around and read some of them, which I think will be particularly exciting. You can also then determine who will be the secretary and so on and so forth of the entire project.
Sorry.
Notwithstanding that, so I will give you 10 minutes.
Sorry, Christian. Just want to make sure. Do you want them to move into the groups or individually they're going to write down the tweet?
Correct. Sorry, that's a very important point. Each row that you're sitting on represents a group. The tweets are for the entire group, not for the individual. So collectively, you can come in if you want to. The seats are movable. You can come and form a circle if you would like, or sit in the most convenient way necessary. We will give you 10 minutes to complete this activity. Let me help out.
Okay, not a problem. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we did a little bit.
Yeah? No problem.
Yeah?
You can have 2 groups. 2 Thai groups and then ask someone to reach out. You okay? You can have 2 if you want.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were Japanese. This is where we are.
Because I thought this is Thai. So then I'm like, okay. Sorry. Thank you, no problem. Wait, I'm getting the translator to come.
So right now, you've had some, so I've always known when the volume goes up, then you know that then it's time to start asking questions. So Cameron, ladies and gentlemen, if we can regain our focus, I know. You can't hear a word of yourselves over me.
Pragmatic. Okay.
But we're to finish up. We're to start. We're to move on to the next activity. I appreciate you wish to continue, but we have a schedule to follow. I apologize. If you can wrap up your tweet. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get Cameron to go around. Cameron, if you maybe we can take the group in the middle. They were having so much fun. If a representative from that group can read
Yeah, if
a
one of
tweet
you would
out
like
to
to
Cameron.
read one or two of your favorite tweets that you made.
We don't know. Okay. No.
Say that we're CGM.
Yeah. So as a sustainable CGM, yeah. So we finally come to one or two tweets we think is good. RSPO credit good for all. Hashtag buyer. Hashtag manufacturer. Support RSPO at RT17.
You have all the right hashtags, okay. Another group wants to participate. Let's take that group. Go for it.
Honestly, it wasn't our group wanted to participate. He volunteered us.
This is the best kind of learning outcome.
So thank you for the opportunity. First tweet, direct and pragmatic approach to support certification.
Very good. So a lot about results and focus. Anyone else? I have to come to you, ladies.
Who would like to volunteer?
I have another group over here, if I may.
I thought you didn't ask people on the front row.
No, I know, but you just look so eager to.
Just one or all three?
I would love to.
Okay. It's an essential mechanism to enable compliance in challenge markets or regions. We use Thailand as an example. And it's also an essential mechanism to promote independent smallholder certification uptake.
Oh, this is a very eager group. The third one, please.
We also had it's an additional support mechanism to enable donation and support in specific regions, and also an enabler for non-supply chain actors to contribute to change.
You're hitting all the boxes. This is very good. Yeah. What about over here? Oh, we got them. Go for it.
RSPO IS credit will stimulate farmers to follow RSPO. They get the direct benefit to start in RSPO process.
Thank you very much.
And Lillian, I think Lita has something to say.
Thank you. Buying RSPO credits is a tool to help the livelihood of farmers. Second one, help smallholders to cover the cost of certification by buying RSPO credits.
Let's take a last one. The group right behind, they were having an interesting dynamic conversation.